Well, welcome back. Let me thank Zach Kimball for putting that new promo together. If you just caught that, that is the incredible Jamie Rivers. By the way, one of the most watched reels that we've put together over the last several months. That one has gone viral, and I keep getting notifications of other people saying, oh my gosh, I love Jamie Rivers. That reel we put together talked about St. Louis, how you truly saved him. And if you haven't seen that, be sure to check out that show. In fact, I'll have Gabriel grab that for you from our YouTube page and drop it into the comments so that you can watch that after the show. We want you to watch this one live. I just saw a comment. All of you, let me do one fell swoop. Good morning, and thank you for the welcome back. I'll be sure to comment to you later. Was it Janet? Janet just said, I have two cousins that went to Principia. I love it, and I can't wait for all of you to find out more about them. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest. Terry Grigsby is the head of school, a proud graduate, by the way, of Principia back in 97 and Principia College in 01. He returns to his alma mater with a lifelong connection to Principia and a deep commitment to its values. Wait till you hear about the values. As a current Principia parent and seasoned educational leader, Terry, as you see here on the screen, brings both personal insight and professional expertise to his new role as head of school. And in the last 3 years, he served as assistant head of school for enrollment management and residential life, leading strategic efforts that have strengthened the admissions, enhanced the boarding experience, supported student care and international student programs. His work has helped shape a vibrant, inclusive community. Look at these kids. They're so excited to be there. Grounded in Principia's values and designed to meet the needs of today's students. Besides that, we want to thank him for his distinguished 20-year career as a commissioned officer in the United States Navy. And I'm sure he brings a lot of that to the school. Let me welcome Terry. Thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thanks for having me, Monica. I really appreciate it.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I am born and raised in St. Louis. I was talking to my husband when we first started discussing doing a showcase on Principia, and my husband's like, oh, yeah, I know about Principia. And I'm like, how do I not? It doesn't even make sense to me, especially being in the news for as long as I have. I may have heard maybe over the years, but when I went full blown into knowing about Principia, I thought, I want to go back to school. It really is unique.
Yeah.
If we, and again, we're going to talk here over the next 45 minutes for parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, et cetera, to be thinking, oh, well, maybe this is a school that I would like to go to. So first of all, you went there.
I did.
And what do you remember most fondly?
Yeah. So, first of all, I don't like talking about myself. But I think it's important to kind of start with my story.
Yes.
So I started at Principia in the 6th grade. Mm-hmm. And I didn't grow up in St. Louis. I grew up in Springfield, Illinois, and I moved to St. Louis when I was 10.
Okay.
And when I grew up in Illinois, I was raised by my great-grandmother. So she adopted me when I was 12 days old.
Wow.
So right out of the hospital, my biological parents were doing things that they shouldn't be doing, drugs and that type of thing. And my great-grandmother just said, no, this isn't going to be this young man's experience.
Oh, I love it.
She was a Christian Scientist. That was her faith. And so she believed in this really strong power of prayer. Mm-hmm. And so she didn't want to have the kind of the human, claims about, this young man's going to grow up in, in this environment with drugs, et cetera, et cetera. And it was her lifelong dream for me to be able to attend Principia School because she knew the caliber of the education, the quality of thought, the incredible faculty that were there. And so that was her dream. But it couldn't happen during her lifetime. And she passed away when I was 10 years old.
My goodness.
So again, this incredible woman, who was in her 80s, raising a young person. And so when she had passed, before she passed, she had made arrangements through some other friends in the church for them to move to St. Louis from Arizona and for me to be adopted by them for a second time. And I joined the Principia family at that point in the 6th grade when I was 10 years old. So I tell that story because my great-grandmother did the best that she could.
Sure.
But it's hard raising a young person,
Absolutely.
Especially when it's in your 80s and things like that. And so I didn't have the self-confidence in myself. I grew up kind of in the public school system, a little bit just kind of being pushed through the system, didn't have those qualities, that a lot of people have, when they have a full, stable family, when they have an education system that supports them and believes in them.
Absolutely.
So I didn't have that self-confidence. So I came to Principia, which is an independent school, high caliber, and was just way behind. And so I think that the Principia difference really comes out through its faculty. The faculty didn't accept those claims that I had about myself. that I wasn't smart enough, that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't even an athlete. My great-grandmother didn't believe that I should be playing sports. She felt like I should be focusing on academics.
Academics, sure.
That was really important to her. So I came, one of my early stories is like, playing soccer with new friends, and I kicked the ball in the wrong goal, and everybody's just kind of,
What did that teach you?
To orient to the right way, But I think that's the amazing thing. I came in probably with, a 1.5 something GPA and no confidence in myself. And by the time I made it to middle school, a little bit better, enjoyed to read, learn to love to read,
Sure.
Gaining confidence in math. By the time I made it to the high school, which we call the upper school, I graduated with, a 3.0 GPA or a little bit higher than a 3.0 GPA. And then we're one of the only organizations in the country that has an affiliated college.
Right.
So that's an advantage, I think. So I went on to Principia College and, 3.5 GPA. And at that point, you're starting to, get in the groove of education and love this place that we have. So I really just think that the Principia difference is the faculty and the fact that they just see all of our children as this like perfect, unlimited children of God, with unlimited capability. And despite kind of the human or, worldly claims that we put on children, especially this day and age, we try to see through that and keep this higher perspective of our children at the forefront of everything that we do. And that was my experience. I think Principia changed my life, and it has changed lives for 127 years.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, again, for all of you that are just tuning in, Terry Grigsby, we're talking about Principia School. And if a lot of you are like, oh, okay, I think I've heard of them. Have they been around for a little while? No, not a little while, 127 years. It's amazing. And again, we're looking at these pictures from the past, but what an evolution, Terry. Just imagine the people that come into our lives, whether it is from a family standpoint or it's a family friend. There's some type of a role model out there. We never know where the path in life is going to take us, but if she hadn't had that belief in you and then said, no, this isn't going to be your path. We're going to take you here. And then continuing to see that. A lot of you that watch the show, you all know that I preach this, to know your value. You learned all of that. You're teaching that now. I mean, again, if we took that little Terry, would you have ever seen yourself where you are now?
No.
Oh, I mean, so many levels. I've been distinguished in the Navy, for 20 years. And then here you are. Did you come back to Principia because you wanted to give back of what you were given?
That's right.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Being able to pay it forward. And so we were blessed to have a career in the United States Navy, lived and served all over the world. My youngest daughter was born in Japan. So we've got this worldly perspective. But it was really important for me to have my children have the same experience and access to these incredible educators and this incredible program that, views our children through this lens of faith that I had. And so my kids are at the school. Got two beautiful daughters, one that's in middle school, which is crazy to us. Time moves by very quickly.
Yes, it does.
And then a little one that's in elementary school, 4th grade. And then my wife is also an educator there too. She's a PE teacher and a coach. So we're all in for Prin. We love it.
Well, you talked about how it wasn't necessarily sports that was on the forefront of the mind at the time, but your academics is huge, your faith aspect is huge, but the sport aspect as well. Let me just give a little props here for those of you that are just tuning in for Principia. The boys basketball won state, the girls took second. I mean, come on. You have a new football coach in Maddie Mock as well, former Mizzou football player.
That's right.
So the sports side, the academic side, the faith side, very, very high prestige as far as the standards that are put for our children.
Yes, absolutely. And, we have this kind of saying at Principia, it's called the whole person or whole child approach, where you can't just come to be one thing.
Right.
You can't just come to Principia for its academics or for its athletics programs. You have to buy into the entire program. And we want to cultivate your intellectual capacity. We want to cultivate your spiritual capacity, the ethical, the moral, the social, all of those things make up kind of what we call the whole child. And it's important to be able to buy in and take sufficient advantage of all of that.
And you talk about faith. And so when people are tuning in and saying, okay, Principia, is it non-denominational? What type of faith, et cetera? Go a little bit more into that.
Yeah, so we were a school that was built to serve Christian scientists and serve the cause of Christian Science, but we're no longer just for Christian scientists.
Right.
And some people ask the question about Christian Science, and we don't represent the church. But the easiest way that I can explain it is it's a Bible-based religion that just sees children through this lens of love. And so we love that idea so much. In John, we read that God is love, right? And when we think about that concept of love is just universal. It transcends all religions, whether you're religious or not. If we can just get children and each other to love each other a little bit better,
Amen.
Love God, love each other, kind of the two great commandments, then we've achieved success.
Yes.
It's not necessarily academic success. It's just how do we treat each other? How do we view each other? How do we embrace each other as a community, as a faith, and being able to kind of push people forward. So. And
I looked at some of the pictures, and I want to thank Carrie, by the way, with your staff. She took me until we get a chance to go on campus, which we're going to do, by the way. If you're just tuning in, we will be doing a 2-part series. We're getting you excited about Principia, and then we want to go there. We want to walk you through. We're going to do a little walk and talk and show that in an upcoming feature. But one of the things that I love is you actually have the words love on campus.
That's right. It is our core value. And we see our children through kind of this, analogy of limitless potential, overcoming obstacles, valuing God and each other, and embracing excellence. And so that's kind of what we think about this concept of love. And again, if we can demonstrate that, and even better, if we can have our children embrace that and live that, wow, how incredible. What a gift to the world if we can do that.
Let me ask this, and we'll go to a break. Let me let you think about it for a second. And when we come back, with everything that's happened here over the last month or so, a lot of you know with Charlie Kirk, you're seeing more and more. In fact, I heard an advertisement today as I was driving in, and I thought it was very interesting. And it said, do you have a child that maybe is between 16, 18, 24 years old? You can definitely feel this. Some people are calling it a revival. Others are saying, oh, they've been doing it for a while. Now we're listening to the younger generation. Are you seeing, since that happened over the last several weeks, are you hearing your young children talk a little bit more? I didn't really know much about Charlie. Now I'm watching videos galore, and whether you believe or not believe, and again, I don't believe everything that he had talked about, but one thing that I did love, and his mission that I hope that we all carry forward, is this love for each other and his undying love and faith for a higher power, right? Whether it's God or Jesus or whatever it is that your belief is. And that's what Terry's saying is, again, it's all about loving each other. I mean, I think we hopefully all can believe in that. But do you hear them talking a little bit more? Do you feel a change? Do you feel an energy? Let's think about that. Terry's going to answer that question. If you have any questions or any comments, like Janet had said, she had some people that she knew that went to Principia. If you went there and you're watching this morning, we'd love for you to drop in some comments. If you're rushing off to work or taking the kids to school, and I don't want you texting while you're driving, please don't do that. You can write later. We'll make sure that Terry and I see those. We'll comment or do a little hashtag replay if you're watching this later as well. Again, Principia, and we have only scratched the surface. It truly is an amazing place for academics, for sports, and so much more. We'll have more with Terry Grigsby when we return. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? Do you go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
sure to check out their website to find out more information after you listen to Terry. You might want to follow them on social media as well and just see all the exciting things that they are doing. So if you are just tuning in, let me reintroduce our guest, Terry Grigsby. We went into break talking about maybe a switch or a shift, or maybe you feel a different energy in yourself, but especially in our youth. So Terry, I asked that. Again, I think you already see it by how much faith is on your campus.
Yes.
But did you feel a little bit more? Do you feel a change? Are they talking a little bit more about what happened here in the world?
Yeah, the world is a dynamic place. And one thing that we are constantly trying to get our students and our community to think more about is this power of prayer.
Yes.
And so we want them to pray for the world. And we know that prayer has, impact on our communities, on those that are around us, on our mental state. And so certainly our students are praying for this situation with Charlie Kirk and with all the other, kind of events that are taking place around the world.
Sure.
What we really encourage our students to do is think about this idea of civil discourse and the ability to kind of share ideas. And, our community is amazing. We've got people from all over the world. As you mentioned earlier, we have this boarding program. So we've got 16 countries represented in our student body and some maybe 14 states, from around the United States as well. And so if you think about this, when you have a classroom environment with a student from Ukraine who's, talking about these world events with a student from, North St. Louis or Town and Country or Kansas City, how powerful and how dynamic is that to have these students share different perspectives and different ideas and all through kind of this lens of how do we work together?
Absolutely.
How do we support each other and being able to move forward? And
Yes.
so that's amazing.
Well, and Terry, I think that's the greatest thing that we talk about regularly on the show, which is the art of listening. Right? It's not my way is the only way, and I don't care what you're saying over here. If that is taught at a young age, boy, we have some great adults coming our way.
That's right. That's right.
You adults can learn from them as well. Yes. So there are people from all over that are attending Principia. In fact, they have an early childhood program for infants through age 4, a lower, middle, and then upper school that includes students from kindergarten through 12th. Diverse student body, as you are hearing, 32 international students from 16 countries, part of this thriving boarding program. Again, that's for grades 8 through 12, which includes American students from other states, which is just absolutely amazing. As I mentioned, Terry went there. What do you hear? And, if you look back at when you were there to the kids, it's always funny for them to understand, yes, I was little one day. I've been there already. How, from the interaction between you and the kids, do they really, because we're talking about listening, do they really feel a connection of, oh my gosh, so Mr. Grigsby, so you learned this from us. Oh my gosh. And they get a chance to see their future, right? They see what's coming for them.
Yeah, I think so. Young people are very dynamic these days,
yes,
right?
They are.
And so, there's this kind of sense that, oh, I'm the old guy on the campus, and I don't feel that old, right?
No.
But these young people are incredible. They have great perception. They're in tune with their environment. They're very smart, and they're growing up in an age that's a lot different than what you and I grew up in terms of being digital natives.
Right.
And so we're constantly having to, work with them and challenge them to kind of think outside of the box and reconnect with kind of that physical environment, that human connection, that human environment, and prioritize that. So yeah, where I grew up and we didn't have cell phones, kind of at that time.
We didn't have MacBooks.
That's right.
They do.
Exactly. So it's a different time for young people to grow up, and it presents different challenges, but they're resilient and they're awesome and they're capable of so many great things, and we really appreciate that.
Let's just paint the picture. Again, we've told you, and in this hour, we're just kind of sprinkling things in. When we get a chance to walk on campus and show all of this to you, besides all the wonderful images, and let me thank your team for providing the videos and the images to us. But also, as I mentioned, I want to thank Carrie, because Carrie, with your team, took me kind of a walkthrough in some videos, and I was like, oh my gosh, let's stop on this, let's stop on this. So let's talk about what the kids get excited about. Besides their academic side, you have a wonderful theatrics program.
We do.
You have a farming aspect on there. There's chickens.
That's right. That's
and
right.
eggs.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So we have this, kind of view that we want to support sustainability. And we have what's called Education for Sustainability that we try to incorporate throughout the curriculum. And it's not just like recycling. Many people confuse sustainability with this kind of recycling.
Right.
It's more than that. It's equity and justice. It's systems thinking. It's ecology and things like that. So it's this broad category of how do we support the planet and the world around us. How do we support each other, and how do we support the planet around us? And so with that, we have, wonderful things like chickens and ducks for the little ones.
They have to love that.
They love it, and they're out there. We have gardens across the campus. And as you mentioned before, it's a 360-acre campus. And we get outside and we use that campus as kind of an outdoor laboratory. And it's truly a blessing to be able to have this space kind of in the middle of town and country. And if any of you have driven through town and country lately, it's developed. It's fully developed. And so, when the campus moved here in the 1960s, it was all truly town and country. It was farmland. And just a blessing to be able to have this piece of real estate that we can use as this outdoor laboratory, and it complements the educational curriculum very well.
Terry, you just said it complements. It absolutely does. And that is the part that I just kept looking, going, okay, we had nothing like that when I went to school. The fact that agriculture, farming is put front and center, I think is so key. I mean, again, we cannot get rid of our farmers. They are such a huge part of our world. And here it is giving the kids an opportunity to say, is this something that you want to go into? Many of them probably say, oh my gosh, my grandpa was a farmer. Maybe that's the route I want to go. But it is the evolution of what we can do with farming.
That's right.
What do they say about being able to interact with the chickens and the ducks and all of that?
Oh, they love it. They love it. And we also have a pony program.
Yeah, I was just going to say, tell me about the pony.
And what that does is it creates confidence, right? Everything that we do is intentional. And so when you're a little one and you're looking up at this pony, and it's a giant pony for the little tiny ones, and they are able to ride that pony with confidence, how does that translate into other aspects of their life? How does that build confidence for them to be able to go forward and have confidence with their relationships with their peers and confidence in the classroom? It's the same with the chickens. When you learn how to take care of a chicken, that's a responsibility. That's accountability. That's understanding how the world works. You just don't go to the grocery store and all of a sudden we have eggs. They come from someplace, you know? And so it's really important for young people to understand that, and it translates so beautifully into the classroom.
What kid would not want to wake up and go to this school? I mean, come on. It's like, hey, I get to go see chickens and ducks. I get a chance to learn where this came from. And I'm sure that's the thing, because again, when we were young kids, we were in school, it's like, we come home, or before we go to class, mom and dad are making up eggs for us. Where do the eggs come from? Oh, the grocery store. No, where do they come from, right? They're learning all of that. And these minds that, again, are being fed. Principia School is what we're talking about. Again, in the town and country area. So much more to talk about. We're going to take another quick break. Again, there's the information on the screen of where you can find them, principiaschool.org. The location is 13201 Clayton Road, and you can follow them on Facebook, also on Instagram. They're on YouTube. They're on LinkedIn at Principia School. The phone number is 314-434-2100. As I mentioned, it truly is amazing. And if you've never had a chance to go, Richard just said chickens. I love chickens. I know, right? It's absolutely amazing. So we will have more. If you have any questions, by the way, any comments for Terry, live or later, be sure to drop those in. This is your show, and we love to be interactive with you. More about Principia School when we return.
I was just on the Real Monica Adams show, and it was really a good experience for me. When I walked in, the building is just peaceful. The environment is beautiful here. Monica really made me feel welcome.
The Monica Adams show allows people to be themselves. It's really important to share kindness, to be real, to offer stories and things that will give people hope and a reason to smile.
Rather than waking up aggravated, disappointed, and wondering, where's this earth going, choose to wake up with something that'll put your mind and your heart in the right direction. Start with Monica.
And again, that's how you find us on YouTube. You just type in The Real Monica Adams. I met a lot of people in Cabo San Lucas last week, and they're like, oh, should we watch you on YouTube? Whatever platform makes sense for you. Again, if you have family and friends that don't want to be on social media, I would tell them YouTube or even Rumble. Those are the best for them. So thank you so much for spreading the word, and do just that. Share this so that all of your friends and followers and family can learn about this incredible school. If you are just tuning in, we're talking with Terry Grigsby, the head of school with Principia School, located in Town and Country. Yes, Richard, I'm talking about chickens, but not just chickens, the ponies, but it's also a beehive, a monarch garden, and we're going to talk about a challenge course as well. I told you, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's so much more. You have a beehive there.
We do, and it's amazing. Our third graders were able to put on the bee suits and go out.
They're not scared?
They're not scared.
This is amazing.
They're brave kids. These kids are able to do a lot of things that maybe adults wouldn't do.
Right.
But they go out with adult supervision and they learn where the honey comes from. And they're not only understanding where the honey comes from, but then we add in, the academic skills to that as well. So a little bit of math and understanding how to sell that honey. And a little bit of entrepreneurship in terms of, creating a little bit of a business. And so it's amazing to have third graders have this wide range of experience in this authentic educational environment. So, yeah,
absolutely
they love the
is.
bees.
And you know what? Do you see more and more of that, Terry? I'm looking at, let's go on to TikTok. Let's go on Facebook. Let's go on Instagram. You are seeing all these young minds become business owners, right? And all of us, maybe when we were younger, it was like, oh, this is cute. Let's make this for a hobby. They're turning that hobby into money making for them and furthering their education. Mom and dads hopefully are smart, saying, we're going to put this in a savings.
Yes.
But they are young entrepreneurs, aren't they?
They really are. And we try to cultivate that for them. We try to expose them to as many industries and business partners as we can. Even from a young age, even in our elementary school age kids. And that just opens up the aperture of the mind for possibilities. Again, I go back to my story. I didn't have that vision of what was possible for me, because I lived in such a narrow bubble. What's incredible about education today, and especially at Principia, is we're giving this picture of what can be possible for young people so they can explore the world and be creative people when they grow up.
Absolutely. And tell me about the monarch garden.
Yeah, so these pollinators, right? We want to have bees be able to have Missouri native plants that they can go to and create that culture, that sustainable culture, to be able to do things like create the honey for our bees. And this is an important part of our ecology. And so, yes, we've got monarch gardens all over the campus. In fact, our students even went to one of the local towns last year and made a proposal to them about ways that they can think about redesigning part of their city to incorporate monarch gardens so that we're just being sustainable as a community here in the region. So an incredible opportunity for students to be able to take this from the campus and then to be able to have that relevant, real experience with our local government and try to pitch that idea. So what an incredible opportunity for young people.
Of course. They're brilliant. I mean, look at, again, and don't they look so happy? Again, you might say, oh, my kids look like that. That's great. No matter where they get their education, that's what we're talking about. Are they happy? If not, parents, if you're saying, hey, I really want to look into this. That's why we're giving you all this information. We'll be taking you on a walk and talk very soon. If you missed in the beginning, we talked about love being a very powerful message, again, on the building. You see that first and foremost. You see the love that's between the kids to the teachers, all the way up into the high aspect of the academic. There's a challenge course. Tell me about the challenge course.
We do have a challenge course, and that's one of my favorite parts of the campus.
Oh, yeah?
So it's a high ropes course and a low ropes course. And we get all of our students up on this course. And some people ask us, well, why do you have a challenge course on your campus? Well, think about that. If you're 30 feet up in the air and you're able to overcome the fear of being up at that high in the air, how does that translate to other things when you face fears?
Absolutely.
And again, there's a lot of prayer that takes place up there.
Please help me get down.
When students are up there. But the amazing part is you see students encouraging students to overcome their fears.
Yes.
And when they do, then that translates into the classroom. Think about being, nervous about taking a test. And, you've had this experience where you can push beyond your limits, what your perceived limits are. And so that challenge course, those lessons that are learned in that challenge course directly correlate to the academic space, the athletic spaces, the performance stages, everything. It allows them to gain that confidence and most importantly, that ability to support and cheer each other on.
Are there different levels? Like if someone's in the lower, middle, upper, does it get more challenging? Are there things that, the younger kids are doing and then the kids that are older, they're like, oh, well, we can do this?
Yeah, certainly. There's a low ropes course. It's pretty close to the ground.
Good.
And
it probably makes parents happy.
But we do get the young kids all the way up at a very early age, and it's very safe. The course is certified, periodically. We've got, expert instructors that manage that, and we actually offer that course as a program to other schools as well.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Like other schools will come to Principia and use this as a way to help, have the same skills translate into their academic environments as well. So it's a really incredible, tool that we have here in the St. Louis area.
Okay, so that is one of just many of the things when I was looking at Principia that I thought, okay, really, truly, parents, as you're hearing this, or for those of you that are just waking up and you missed some of this, listen to the rest of the show, but then go back because truly it is, I had no idea that this school existed and that they were able to offer all this. That's how I felt. And it really was anyone that has kids and you're looking at where should they be going to school, why would you not choose Principia? Think about all the things that they're able to do there. The team building aspect. Again, I mean, you're talking about a challenge course. For me, as a personal trainer, I have all of my clients and it gets to a point where, okay, can I take you to another level, right? Yeah. What happens in your mind? You mentioned earlier, Terry, it's so important that we're evolving in our minds, in our spirit, physically, again, morally, socially, spiritually. They put all that together at Principia. Doesn't this place sound super, super cool? I see some comments coming in. We'll get to that for you in just a second. We talked just a little bit about sports earlier. Their athletic and their performing arts programs offer more than games and performances. They are true laboratories for building character, resilience, courage, leadership, teamwork. You'll find all throughout the campus opportunities to question, to create, to lead, and to serve. Again, their programs are just absolutely amazing. They enable the students to put their understanding into practice where the learning experiences are focused on the outcomes. As well, trips. You have local and abroad trips. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we really think about this concept with education. It has to be authentic. It has to be relevant. It has to be transferable, and it has to be impactful. And you can't have that or achieve that if you're just staying within the four walls of a classroom.
Absolutely.
So you have to get outside of the classroom and have the world kind of be your laboratory, your educational space. And so we love to travel. We think that travel opens the aperture to the world, expands the mind. I traveled when I was at Principia, and I think that really set me up well for living overseas when I, later in life when I did my military career.
Where did you travel when you were in school?
So when I was in school, I traveled to Costa Rica.
Oh my gosh.
I traveled to Washington, D.C. I traveled to our national parks. So got to see Yellowstone and Mount Rushmore and that part of the country. And then at Principia College, I traveled to Japan and then later lived in Japan when we were stationed there. So
I think it is important because, again, we can have a book and we're talking about history and kids can only learn so much by, as you said, being within four walls or looking through papers.
That's right.
Getting them out and understanding different cultures.
Yes. So you hit it right on the head. You study it in the classroom and then you go out and you experience it. And so we start traveling outside of the St. Louis area in fifth grade.
In fifth, okay.
And so our fifth graders go to Jamestown and Williamsburg and Virginia, and then they spend a little bit of time in Washington, D.C. And then after that, it's every year students have an opportunity to travel outside of St. Louis to different parts of the country and different parts of the world. And most of that's actually included as part of the tuition. So it's not additional cost for families.
Really?
It's included as part of the tuition. We feel like it's that important for our students to be able to experience the country and experience the world. And that just adds to the richness of the educational experience.
Okay, my mind's blown. I literally want to go, Mom, why didn't you know about Principia? But again, this is the reason that you get a chance to pay it forward. And for those of you that do, in fact, have maybe nieces or nephews, or I have godchildren, right? If they are in an age where they might want to be switching schools, let them know more about this. Babs just said, coming from Boston, I'm familiar with the Mother Church, beautiful, extraordinary building. I have a family in my life who went to Principia. So Barbara, thank you for passing that along. Rose said, Terry, I love the fact that your grandma got custody of you and she raised you. God bless her. Look what you contribute. Sounds like a great school. My hubby says that's the kind of stuff, what he's talking about, that needs to be taught at school. I think this is the reason why I love live, right? We get to interact with you. Billy said, I love this. I just hopped on. I missed most of the show. That's the reason you get a chance to go back in the stream. City school kids and rural school kids live totally different lives. Allowing them to experience the animals and growing their own food is huge. This is one of the reasons we moved from St. Charles to a rural community when we had our youngest son. Before he went to school this morning, he took care of the chickens.
Oh, wonderful.
See? How very cool is this? That's what we're talking about. Again, getting a chance to learn so much real life.
That's right.
And that's the thing. Sometimes kids will, they come home from school and they're like, do I need to know this? Right? But it is really evolving and teaching as a whole student, as you mentioned earlier.
That's right.
Or a whole child.
Whole child.
Yes.
Yeah. And we say whole child because we're all children of God.
Yeah,
so we love
absolutely.
that concept of thinking of our students in that vein. But absolutely, I mean, this authentic, real experience where we're exposing them to things that they may not have an opportunity to do otherwise, just really gives them incredible insight.
I think it's amazing. Principia's House and Crew program also, they foster belonging, involvement, and leadership. Students are placed in a house and a crew and remain with those peers throughout their journey.
That's right. So think Harry Potter, that
Yeah,
concept.
absolutely.
But it does a couple things. It really creates this great sense of community and family units for our students. It gives our students an opportunity to connect with an adult because we have an adult leader that manages every crew. So you've got about 8 students per crew, and those 8 students are assigned to an adult. So a lot of touch points frequently with adults who really get to know and understand our children and our children's needs, our students' needs at the school. So it's incredible, and there's some friendly house competition that's there as well. So when you're in the high school, you get to compete for the house cup, and that's always fun between our 4 houses that we have. So it's incredible.
Competition is healthy, right? You also have a state-of-the-art media center. And then before we wrap, I did want to touch on this. You have an amazing food program. In fact, Carrie was saying, I love eating. How many people say, I love eating at a campus for your school? Normally you're like, Mom or Dad, can you make this for me? She said the food is when I go to do the walk and talk, I want to eat there. Because the
Absolutely.
food looks incredibly healthy, family style, right? You all
That's
get a
right.
chance to eat together.
For the lower school. So the lower school kind of eats family style. But we use Sage Dining, and it's incredible. They do a great job for us. We have salad bars, we have panini bars, there's pasta bars, there's options for almost every palate
Incredible.
that's out there. Because we know the importance of nutrition for young
Absolutely.
people. If they're fueled, if they're full, if they're eating the right way, then that translates into all the other aspects of their educational experience and their outside of educational experience as well.
Are there programs also to help teach them in case they want to go into a life in the food industry, chefs, et cetera? Not yet?
But that's something that we
That's
can
coming,
certainly
right?
explore. So
Okay, before we wrap up, you have visiting weekends coming up this fall.
that's right. That's right. So absolutely, go to our website and look for those either discovery days if you just want to kind of see the campus, but not really, you're just kind of curious and you want to learn more, or if you're really all in, come visit us. And all those dates are on our website. We'd love to have you come and spend some time with us on our campus.
And you've got them right there. By the way, October 27th, the campus visit for K through 12 from 7:45 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. And then coming up in November on the 10th and the 24th as well. That's your best way. When we talked about all of these, the only way to really immerse yourself in all is go on the campus, walk around, bring your kids. And they're going to fall in love. If you don't want the kids to go there, then you better not bring them, because I can guarantee you they will right away be tugging on you saying, please, 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 can we go there? So Principia, again, spiritual growth, a key part of the whole person approach to education. Each week begins with a Monday chapel offering healing and inspirational messages that students carry with them throughout the week. A required 1-semester Bible course taken before graduation provides the students with a moral and ethical understanding of, again, all that faith-based as well as the scripture side. It's everyone loving each other, and I don't think there's any better faith than that. Again, the love between each person. Kristen said, I want to go back to high school, especially Principia. I know, Kristen, that's exactly what I said. Terry, I can't wait now to come on campus. Can I do the challenge course?
Well, we can look into that for sure.
I want to eat there. I want to go to the challenge course. I want to play with the chickens. I want to play with the ponies. All of you, aren't you excited by this? I really, really am. I couldn't wait for Terry to come in, and now I'm super excited to go on campus. We're going to let you know the date for that, and we'll have a really beautiful piece that we're going to do. So devotion is a big part of the end of our show. Okay, so Terry, I'm going to ask you, in these books that we read from at the end, they're called 100 Days to Freedom From. Okay, so we're trying to break you from the chains that may bind you from anger. Do you feel like we need to hear about anger, fear and anxiety, shame, overeating, or depression?
How about anger?
Anger. Okay.
Yeah.
100 Days to Freedom from Anger. And then one final wrap up again so that you can find out all the information of where you can find out more about Principia School. So don't go anywhere. And welcome back. I know a lot of you have just said, oh my gosh, I just tuned in. I know you're running around, you're making breakfast, you're taking care of yourself, taking care of the kiddos. Now it's time, maybe, if you are relaxed, that you can listen to all of this. You are really going to fall in love. Just like Kristen said, I agree with you, girl. I would love to be going back to school right now. Since we can't, let's pay it forward. And let's share this show like crazy with your family, your friends, your followers, so they can know about Principia School. And then we're going to do this really beautiful piece. I'll let you know when that's going to air coming up in the coming weeks as we head into fall. So Terry picked the one about anger, 100 Days to Freedom from Anger. We're trying to break you of that. This is day 38. It's called Patience is a Virtue. A fool is quick-tempered, but a wise person stays calm when insulted. That's Proverbs 12, verse 16. If you've been dealing with anger issues, you likely have an issue with impatience. The two go together. Sometimes impatience looks like anger, vice versa. For example, we all have days when we don't feel like we have enough time. The truth is we have too much to do in the time allotted, and we haven't accepted this reality. We don't like to admit limitations. We often try to push ourselves beyond our ability. Time is fixed, and we have to manage it. If we recognize that we are irritable or angry because of a lack of time, we must make space in our schedule and say no to things that we can't do. Ooh, that word. It's hard for me to say no. This decision can be difficult. It bumps against our belief that we can do whatever we want, whenever we want. The other place where impatience leads to anger is in our relationships. When we don't recognize that people who are who they are and that they might not be able or want to make choices we think are best, we might feel frustrated. Maybe someone we care about has an addiction. We have given them multiple opportunities to course correct. Or maybe we want someone to do more with their life because we think it reflects on our worth. Control and codependency lie at the core of this type of impatience. So we have to address the issues, realizing that even though we might have good intentions or think we know what's best for someone else, we cannot control others. Being patient is a one-time decision. Patience is a resource you must continually stock up on. If impatience is driving you to anger, create space in your life to experience more peace, even when things don't go the way you want. Martin Luther said, "Those speak foolishly who ascribe their anger or their impatience to such as offend them or to tribulation. Tribulation does not make people impatient, but proves they are impatient. So everyone may learn from tribulation how his heart is constituted." Here's your prayer for today. Lord, help me increase my patience. Help me understand and discern what is for me to do and not to do. I pray for your strength and insight as I search for the areas that are pushing my limits and bringing out the worst in me. I want to be more like you each day. Amen. Good one. We haven't had a chance to read from that one. A lot of times, Terry, people pick fear and anxiety, and you can feel so much fear, so much anxiety in the world, but they all lead to the other ones: shame, anger, overeating, depression. I'm glad you picked that one because, again, that fear and anxiety gets chosen a lot. Terry, I can't thank you enough for coming in this morning And I'm excited now to come to your house, right? To come on campus at Principia and do our true walk and talk. One more time, here's how you can find out all the information. And again, as we mentioned, some opportunities for you coming up in the fall to go on campus yourself and to find out more. Principiaschool.org is the website. That phone number is 314-434-2100, and they are located at 13201 Clayton Road in Town and Country. Follow them on social media at Principia School. Wonderful show. And again, there's your fall visiting events. The next one that's coming up is on October 27th. Terry, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And love. Remember, love is a big word that we use a lot on this show, knowing your value. And then the greatest thing that we can say, and I can sure they do this on a regular basis, to say, be whoever you want to be, right? Let's shape those minds morally, socially, spiritually, physically. Your mental side is all very, very key. The greatest thing that those kids and the staff and all of us can do is to be kind. That's the greatest thing we can be in life. God bless you all. Have a beautiful day.